Hey guys, welcome to the sideboard here at the SCG Charlotte Open. I'm Ken Crocker here once again with Jacob Baugh.
Yeah.
Jacob,
Yeah.
that was pretty impressive there.
Yeah, it was some pretty good draws there.
So last week we did a deck tech review and you were playing
Yeah.
mono black Eldrazi.
Yep.
This week you're still playing black.
Yeah.
You're still playing Eldrazi. But we've made a couple changes.
Yeah.
So we're calling this Heartless Eldrazi mostly
Yep.
because you added Heartless Summoning to the deck.
Yeah.
So what brought about this change?
So I grind on Moto with this deck a lot. I just look at the Moto grind decks. I saw a 5-0 deck called that Benna had. Jerry did an article on it as well.
Sure.
To feature the deck. I liked where it was going. Like, it was way more explosive, and you didn't have the inconsistent draws where you don't draw your exile effects, and then some of your cards are just pretty mediocre. They're not terrible by any means, but like a 3-mana 4/5 is still fine. But Blight Herder, like without kicker, is pretty bad.
Sure.
And same for the 3/2 Wasteland Strangler.
Yeah.
But so this deck completely gets off that axis where you can just cast your giant things and you just kill them.
So speaking of giant things, you seem to have made some cuts and some changes. You've added a bunch of bigger Eldrazi.
Yeah.
So let's go over them. It seems like you've added 4 of Conduit of Ruin.
Yeah.
So just a tutor, or
it's a fine body on its own. A 5/5 is pretty great, and like the cost effect doesn't really matter too much. And the tutor is fantastic. It's a cast trigger, so you always get your things, even if they counter them, which is like an inherent ability of Eldrazi. Just really good against counter spells. It's just nice.
So Remand not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, yeah. You always get your stuff. Yeah. And it is another ramp spell in its own.
Fair enough. You added 4 Kozilek's Channeler, which just adds 2 mana, just a ramp.
Yeah, it's the effect isn't really needed in this deck, but it's not terrible by any means. You can activate Eyes a lot faster when you have it, but its body's kind of weird with Heartless Summoning. It turns on Bolt, which is kind of awkward. It's probably one of the cards we'll be cutting after rotation, but just because it's the best option right now. That's why it's in the deck.
All right. So we got a 1 of Void Winnower?
Yeah, what
is this really for in the modern format?
Scapeshift, Bloom, all those decks, if you play that card, they're just stone dead to it. It's fine in against other random decks. You keep it in against Burn, because it's just better than Ulamog. Shuts off like 16 spells in their deck, where Ulamog doesn't really do anything.
Doesn't do much.
They operate on 1 of the 2 lands, so...
Fair enough. And then obviously 4 of Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger.
Yeah.
It's hungry.
Yeah,
we saw that.
Yeah, you want to have it in every game. You just want it in every hand because you can cast it so reliably on turn 4 and 5 in this deck, compared to the other deck where you could not do that.
Sure, and that's one of the upsides of going to the Heartless Summoning package is you actually get to cast Ulamog at the same time as like a Tron deck.
Yeah.
But you don't have to run all the Tron pieces and
you still get to play
and all
removal and discard like a Jund deck and operate on that axis with having the big mana, which is really great.
So I see a 1 of Shizo Death's Storehouse. Do we really need to give our Eldrazi fear? I mean, come on.
The guy who made the deck on Moto had it in his deck, and I saw no reason not to play it. It could just be a swamp, but randomly giving Ulamog unblockable and just killing them is just a thing. So
fair enough.
It's literally, it could be a swamp. I mean, the card's pretty expensive for what it is, so it might not be worth the purchase, but it's a good card.
So do you think Heartless Summoning is the right way to go in the future with this deck?
I definitely think it has the most consistent draws. Like the other deck, like it had some really weird draws. Like you get too many rocks, like the Exile rocks, or you get the other things, or you just get the guys without them, and then you just have to mulligan those hands. And that's not really what you want to be forced to doing, because you have to have both things together to activate your deck, basically. And it's pretty inconsistent where this doesn't have that. So I think this is the
right path to go down.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the reasons we wanted to do this deck tech with you is we wanted to talk about the evolution of the Eldrazi deck in Modern. So if our viewers want to, they can go to last weekend in Cincinnati and check out the deck tech you did with my colleague Nick Miller to see how you originally started. There's this deck tech now. And let's talk about the future. So Oath of the Gatewatch is right around the corner.
Yeah.
What cuts and additions are we making to this deck with Oath of the Gatewatch being released?
Thought-Knot Seer is probably the best card we're getting. Not close at all. It's definitely going to be probably these 4 Channelers going straight out for that card.
And that's the one that makes your opponent discard/exile from their hand.
It's basically a delayed Vidalian Click.
Sure.
And it's the same body, and it costs 1 less.
Yeah, and it's 4 mana, so it's a lot easier for you to cast.
Yeah, you can easily turn to it, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, you cut down on the amount of discard in your deck.
Yeah.
What else are we adding? Probably from Oath of the Gatewatch.
Reality Smasher is great. It's just this card just has too much text. It's all great.
Trample Haste.
Trample Haste.
5/5 and some other ability.
If you target it with a spell, it is countered unless they discard a card. So they have to 2-for-1 it, and it's just and it will get it'll probably get its damage in, and then they have to 2-for-1 themselves to kill it, and it's just an Eldrazi, so it costs less. It's just
so it turns into a little bit of a beatdown deck too.
Yeah, you can definitely we'll have those angles in the new version, I would think, and then Kozilek will probably just be I don't know if we can fit 6 giant Eldrazi's. We'll probably have to cut one of these.
One of the Ulamog or Void Winnower.
Having to be able to tutor for it with still playing 4 of these guys is just to refill your hand when Ulamog's not going to end the game.
So one Kozilek
is probably the number you want.
The Distorter of Truth or something along those, like Truth Distortion.
Yeah, it's really getting its combo too, because I mean, having a million counter spells is game tech.
Yeah. So now you get to play a little bit of fish style. So we're a beatdown deck, we're a ramp deck, we're a fish deck. Is there any other card that you're really looking at?
The removal suite will change with Whelming Whale. Like that card just does everything.
The Warping Whale that does the Eldrazi charm, if you will.
Yeah, it kills the Splinter Twin decks, kills Baugh against John, kills even burn creatures like Swift Spears. It just does everything, and it can pseudo ramp you by making a token, so it even has that element. And it just the other mode, it's counter sorceries, which
I mean, I guess if your opponent ever gets to cast Scape Shift against you,
counters
maybe
Scape Shift. It counters a lot of the combo kills.
Counters some discard. That way they can't strip. Your Ulamog. So we're looking at adding Warping Whale, Kozilek, Thought-Knot Seer, and Reality Smasher.
Yeah, the only other thing you might have to change is the mana base to support some of the colorless cards, but just make sure if you're going to try and play this deck.
Are we going to try to play any wastes?
I don't think so, but we'll probably play some other colorless land in our deck. Right now we have there's 8 sources for colorless mana in the deck right now: 4 Ghost Quarters, 1 Cavern of Souls, and 4 Eldrazi lands, the Temples. That's not that much if you're going to be adding. I guess that's say like 12 to 12 cards and that have those symbols. So that's pretty low to cast those. So you probably have to change the mana base a little, cut some black sources, maybe move some sideboard cards around. But Urborg keeps the black online.
Urborg always just helps. So. All right, well, that sounds awesome. Jacob, thanks for taking the time to side us in from the sideboard, talk about the evolution of this Eldrazi deck. So you heard him. Get your Reality Smashers, Thought-Knot Seers now if you want to play this deck. You guys stay tuned for more action here in Charlotte.